Nichikiwi is known for buffing a lot of towers, but this one might be the most extreme buff I've seen so far from the Legend of the Night. Stick around till the end for its true power, but for the time being, let me explain the challenge. We're going to take on an elite boss with the Legend of the Night buff. Elite Bloonarius over on Moon Landing. I skipped the first several rounds just because the formula is always the same. Essentially, we are going to attempt to beat Bloonarius without any Paragons here. Paragonless strategy. And so with that, we can compare Legend of the Night with normal towers to see just how strong it is. Now, technically, it is like the most expensive one, so shouldn't be surprised that if it does perform the best out of everything. It might have already been the best before this update, but we'll see how big the difference is now. With that said, I probably should mention those changes, eh? Well, it's simple. Less Pierce in exchange for, yes, plus 12 MOAB damage. Or rather, pretty much double the MOAB class damage. Now, this does not mean that Legend is 2x damage, because remember, it does have still base damage. So if you include that into the equation, which I believe is 10, then it's closer to like a 50% buff, but still 50% is insane for a tower of this caliber. In my opinion, I already thought it was a pretty balanced tower. It already did a lot of damage, but I guess Nichikiwi thought otherwise. We even brought a Zilly so that we could squeeze out even more DPS out of the Legend. Now, in doing so, my early game farming is a little bit more sus. I have a little bit less to work with than I usually do. So much so that I have to sell 2 farms for a Balloon Trap, and I only just afford it now. Hopefully this is still okay. Also, I did check on ranked mode, but don't look too into that. I'm not going to tightly follow those restrictions, but we'll still see how low we can go. So tier 1, I obviously cannot use Super Monkey just yet. We'll find something more affordable. I want to try keeping the Monkeyopolis, so hear me out on the following. I'm gonna first stall rounds with a Downdraft and a Glue Gunner, just so the rounds progress a lot slower. No tower will pop balloons over here, so we can basically keep these ramps back here perma-stunned while the Sticky Bomb does its magic. Now, I am leaking, so how about a Morglaives here? First skull now. Morglaives is enough for it, so let me see if I can afford an artillery battery in time. Come on. 240. It seems like round 41 started, but that's okay, I think. My end goal wasn't to beat it before round 41 started, just to progress as little rounds as possible, so the more I stall, essentially, the better. I kind of expected it when picking Morglaives, but I think that's what's causing some of the rounds to progress a little bit faster, because it can bounce, like, really far. Even though it shoots up top, those glaives will eventually get to the entrance and finish off the balloons. Not the camos, but in the earlier rounds, it was doing that. Also, not sure how obvious this is, but I'll get it out of the way now. Yes, if you hear my voice is a little bit different, yes, I am a little bit sick. That's all. Back to the boss. If I can beat this before round 44 ends, I think we're looking good. And this kind of just shows the power of the Sticky Bomb, eh? It did basically all of the 50k damage for us, with still plenty of track length to spare. I have not been using the artillery battery ability, but I'll use it now just to squeeze in damage faster. And this should do it. Took a little bit longer than expected. Around 46 kill, but hey, if we kept the Monkeyopolis while doing so, I consider that a great success. One more sticky, and bye-bye. And you know the drill from here. Rubber gold, balloon traps, and the like. Now, what's cool is that normally I would get a spike factory for the mobs, but Azili on her own already does pretty crazy mob damage, so we don't actually need a spike factory, so we can keep on greeting. Pretty cool. And without the help of Geraldo or Ben, we got ourselves a round 54 Banana Central. Nice. Now, here's what's up. First, let's get a third trap, because there's too many balloons at this point. But we're gonna try to keep the Banana Central while I think gunning for Legend of Night for tier 2, so we don't have to spend on more. So for maximum sellback, everything should be a 402 banana farm, and also, I know it's in ranked mode you can't use powers, but I just enabled it for quality of life, that's all. Not time mode, so I can take my time in building up Legend. So for starters, we'll get a Dark Champion, and when the money's close, We'll sell every 402 farm available, which totals 80k, and get that legend. 100k, I guess, if I sell this too. And I hate to keep bringing it up, but I have to keep stressing just how insane Ninja Kiwi is with the buffing lately, or at least for this specific change. Because to prove how ridiculous it is, get this. I took a look at the previous patch notes of Legend of the Night, and noticed that on the release, Legend of the Night did 3 bonus mob damage, and now it does 25. If that isn't power creep in a nutshell, then I don't know what is. We're also, I think, going to get Legend right as first skull hits, so that's good. I think the money's there now. 1, 2, 3, 4, boom. And now, let's see, just a raw Legend of the Night. I guess I'll get Jungle Drums because I can. How much damage can a raw damage Legend of the Night do? If I set to strong, you can see it's about 3,000 DPS. I gotta put it back in first, though, for the rainbows. But this, unsurprisingly, is going to shred tier 2, and from this point on, we're gonna buff the shit out of it. Given the way things are looking, I doubt I'm gonna need too many buffs to actually break down. Oh, crap. Oh, I think the portal actually activated, so hang on. We'll forego the jungle jump stuff right now just to catch those rainbows. Turns out that was the real threat all along, rather than the Balloon Ares itself. GG easy. Back to in range so we get some money out of it. And now let's work on temple buffs. A temple gives 20% attack speed per support sacrifice. So if I get True Sun God buff on it, then that's basically 40%. Along with some plus damage, although that's not really the main kicker or the main deal breaker. So add another 5k per round to our income. And Monkey Town for another 1k per round. Seems I don't quite have enough for a True Sun God yet, but I think just having the Sun Temple buff should be strong enough for now. Let's bring it, and obviously I could add, like, the Called Arms and all that right now, but I guess in the spirit of release cash, I'm gonna try to save money on that by getting TSG first so I get the 40% discount. That's the most important thing. I guess if I do need some extra damage, I'll take Overclock off the Banana Center for one cycle, but honestly, damage looks pretty good right now. Averaging about 4k DPS here, and the cool thing is that, I guess because I have Temple, I can use that to defend the ceramics while the Legend focuses all of its damage only on Balloon Ares here. Just a theory, but perhaps this buff is just Ninja Kiwi's way of trying to make more non-Paragon strategies viable in bossing. Because I feel like, not lately, but this whole time, bosses have been very Paragon-oriented, as in if you don't go for a Paragon, you're kind of cooked. The only other viable option, truly, to beat tier 5 elite bosses is, like, VTSG. And if you don't use VTSG, then you're basically just left with scraps to defend. Now, I doubt that's the real motivation for the change, just listing an example, that's all. But now, again, after getting the VTSG, or the TSG support buff, we can go ham in supporting it. So, there's Ultra Boost, there's a Homeland Defense, we will get our Perma Brew now as well. And as I told you, we really didn't need the, like, any further buffs to beat tier 3. If I hadn't gotten the True Sun God, it would have taken a while to beat Balloon Ares, but we would have taken it down eventually, it seems like. Now we're just going to make the process a lot faster, reaching upwards of, I think, 10k damage per second. And there's still, again, a lot more to go. Actually, I'm not sure I'd say a lot more to go, because after 10 Ultra Boosts and Homeland, the only other thing we can really add are debuffs. I will get this, of course, for slightly faster cooldowns, and a Called Arms, too, somewhere. And I think now we mean business. Bring on tier 4 elite. You've got Homeland active, and now, what does that DPS look like? Well, probably 30,000, I think. Totem costs 1 life now only, so yeah, I don't mind using it for 17% more attack speed. And what more is there to say, really? Just watch and enjoy the Legend of Night shredding. I don't know. But looking at this, though, because I can't really add more DPS out of this guy, I think I probably gotta add some other non-Paragon defense, so I'm thinking Mad. Although, actually, there is a slight issue with Mad on this map. The walls on Moon Landing completely block it. I am gonna get a Kira Flake Chip, though, Main reason really being for the sniper, so I get the +5 damage debuff. See, right now, everything gets blocked, but if I put the... Oh, actually, no. Oh, am I wrong? I thought the top platform was high enough to see over, but I guess moon craters are much deeper than I thought. Okay, let's go back then. Forget the Kira flagship. I think instead what I gotta do is I have to just Chinook the sniper around to areas where it can see through the crater. On that same vein, I think this map also has the issue of super brittle. You can't place stuff in the middle of the crater, obviously, so super brittle is also not gonna have full uptime, which is kind of scary to think about. So we'll start with the following supporting cast. I think it leaves a lot to be desired, though. Super Mines, a big plane, and a Sentry Champion for comparison. Sentry Champion is usually good, but with all the blockers on this map, I think it's going to be, well, a lot worse. Very insightful analysis there. I also don't have enough stacks, Ultra Boost stacks on my towers, so this is kind of an issue, isn't it? Anyway, I just gotta focus all of my Ultra Boosting now, or overclocking back on the Legend. I suppose to make things more fair, I should equally give an overclock to each of the big boy towers. So back to tech botting Ultra Boost, and then we'll overclock the Super Mines too and give it its own tech bot. Before that, let's check because the pops from the previous tier still count. So 19.1 million and 2.8. This guy at 1 million, so just keep that note for comparison. Unsurprisingly, we're looking at pretty much exactly 40,000 damage like it was on tier 4. If that's going to be enough, though, remains to be seen. So in the time that this thing got 2 million pops, it appears this got... Is that 1 point something? Don't forget, too, that I think this is siphoning pops from, like, all the ZMGs that are being spawned out, as well as the balloons coming in, because it can target it before Legend can, so that's not quite accurate. The main flaw, really, of using pop counts for direct comparisons. I'd love if, like, say, at the end of each boss, you could see how much damage each tower did to the boss specifically. I don't know. Just a shower thought, really. Also, I guess I can get back a Kira flagship. I just realized that I could buff the big plane a little bit more, so why not? Anyway, I feel like I might be a tad bit short on DPS here. Super Mines also is gonna lose the good spot now, because the spot that I'm gonna Chinook it to now can shoot it in too wide of a radius, so that's more wasted spikes than usual. On the bright side, this open area means the Sentry Champion can start doing a wee bit more damage. Third skull now, but at this pace, I think it's gonna come down to the wire. Round-wise, though, I think it's safe to say we are looking good. It's only round 127, and we hit the halfway mark right about now. Update, it appears the Sentry Champion has surpassed the Super Mines and Pops. Not, I guess, too surprising. I guess the second creator does have a bit better angles to shoot in than creator number 1. I'm also just going to move Super Mines out of the way because it's gotten incredibly laggy the last several minutes, so I want to assume it's because of all those mines on the screen. And because it was 4 out of 4 in terms of damage out of the big 4, I figure we can just use the last 3 to take us all the way home. Final 3 million now, and I gotta say, very impressive stuff. We'll just keep on selling stuff just to lower any lag possible. Those two didn't seem to do much, so I think it's mostly, right now, a Sentry Champion and Flying Fortress causing that lag. Ah well. So the final counts are 18 million, 37, and 11. So, given the head start this thing had, it only actually did a little bit more damage than the big plane during this tier. Don't forget, this was not 10x ultra boosted either. But again, I think that has mostly to do with it hitting other balloons. GG. And that's a Paragonless Elite Balloon areas, made much, much easier this update. Before I go, one quick bias-free test. I'm gonna test a MAD because I couldn't do it in the last run. How I'm gonna do this is, I'm gonna wait one whole cycle of the MAD ability to simulate, you know, having a lot of downtime on that ability, because obviously if I check now, then yeah, it's of course gonna surpass it by a lot. Okay, I guess we're also simulating a bit of downtime on the Legend Knight, which is kind of I don't know if I'd say unfair, but ideally in a boss you'd have full uptime. Anyway, that's one cycle, killed the balloon, and oh, it's actually only a little bit above Flying Fortress and MAD, so maybe this buff was fair in terms of boss damage, but still, I just feel like the concept of 3 MOAB damage to 25 is insane. And don't forget, this is better against balloon insides too. Just some food for thought. Anyway, a lot more things to cover in this update, so if you want to catch more of that, then subscribe. Otherwise, click here for more.